All right, all right. All right, all right, all right. Are we started? I think so. Let's give it a few seconds, you know. These live streams are not like a regular video. Um, so we're going to make sure we're rolling. Rolling. There we go. Okay. Shout out to everyone watching out there. Okay. And so, yeah, so I can see already Diego is, oh boy, am I excited for this. My parents are Mexican, and I have been trying to find out if I can use them to get dual citizenship of Mexico and the U.S. Well, you're in luck. You and everyone else in the audience today is in luck. We're going to be answering that question and a bunch of other questions kind of regarding the same issue. I get this question asked a lot, believe it or not. This is a major issue that a lot of people are having. What else? It's actually very surprising to me, as to, and it's by the way, a really nice surprise, in the sense that I never even thought of it like a dumbass, but, just the whole idea, like, hey, wait a minute, there's like a gazillion Mexicans living in the USA, like in my situation, you know what I mean? The same kind of situation, you know who you are, you're watching this right now, or going to be watching this or whatever, basically that you were born in the USA. Or you came to the USA as a very small child, and so all you know is the USA. Sure, you were grown up in a Mexican household, and everything you know is Mexican. You got all the Mexican customs. Same as me. I'm Cuban. I got all the Cuban customs. Grew up in a Cuban household, Cuban food. The chancleta to the head, everything. All right, the whole thing. All right, Latino culture is very similar. Okay. We just, different politics and other stuff, okay? But at the end of the day, when it comes to like, just everyday life for the most part, it's pretty similar. Again, one of the reasons why I love it out here. So with that being said, yeah, you know what I mean? I can totally understand. There's a lot of people with Mexican heritage that live in the USA. They just have no idea that they actually have rights, in Mexico. And yeah, they should probably look into it. In fact, I think a lot of you guys are looking into it now more and more than ever because, again, if the typical American or the typical Canadian or the typical anyone out there is looking for a way to get to Mexico, well, imagine you guys that, you guys have a huge advantage already that you're, Mexican heritage, of some sort. So let's just get into the question real quick. You know me, I like to blah, 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 okay? So let's just answer the question, okay? Then we'll go into details, okay? But the question is, okay, can you get dual citizenship if your parents are Mexican? Answer is yes. Straight up 100% yes. Not just your parents. I think your grandparents, and it even goes back, I think, to your great grandparents, but I'm pretty sure your grandparents. We're just answering parents today. That's why I didn't even do the research. I should have. I know. My bad. I dropped the ball. But the point is that at the very least, if your parents are Mexican, one parent is Mexican, you're good to go. You're golden. You won the golden ticket, and as they like to say, you know what I mean? So you really don't need, like a lot more other than to prove, your parents' situation, all right? And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, how to go about all that and then some, okay? But yeah, long story short, the question is, if my parents are Mexican, can I get dual citizenship? The answer is yes, all right? And what is dual citizenship? Well, what it is, you get citizenship in Mexico and a Mexican passport, okay? But again, this is assuming that you are born in the USA, all right, or Canada. By the way, this goes to any Mexican living abroad. We're just talking mostly to Americans because, that's where most Mexicans are in the USA. But long story short, assuming that you are a Mexican, okay, but the only citizenship you hold is U.S. citizenship or Canadian or a European country or whatever, can you now get your Mexican citizenship? And the answer is yes. All you really need to do, again, there's a few things you got to do. I wrote it all down. We got it here. But long story short, you just got to prove that, one of your parents, in some cases, both your parents, we're going to talk about that. But you got to prove that at least one of your parents is Mexican. Okay, and once you do that, you're good. So This is, by the way, so today's question is brought to us by Michael. All right, shout out to Michael out there. I apologize. It took me a while to acknowledge who was asking me today's question. For anyone out there that wants more information on how I can personally answer your question for the benefit of everyone in the audience, not just you, again, go to my website, click on the link in the chat, click on the link in the description, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do. Now, back to the question. Let's just go through question number one. Question number one is, my wife has a family member in Michoacan, and we would love for them to come visit us here in Texas. What would they need for them to start applying for a passport, and for for it to go faster? All right, do we need a lawyer for the process, stuff like that? Okay. So that was actually the question. There was a few questions, okay? So I want to answer that question real quick, okay? Because there's a lot of Mexicans in the U.S. right now that probably has a family member in Mexico, and you would like them to come visit. And step number one is they ask me what do they need to get a passport? As a Mexican, the only thing you need to get a passport is your INE, okay? Your voting registration card, your INE. Okay, every Mexican has an INE. Okay, if you don't have an INE, that's you got other things to worry about. But again, it's easy to get. So basically, you got to get your INE, and once you get that INE, okay, then you go to I forgot where it's a certain office. Okay, but you go and just get your passport. That's it. All you need is your INE, and you apply for your passport. You pay the fee. You're good to go. You don't need any extra paperwork, anything extra, and that's how you get your Mexican passport. Now, I did a little extra research because, like a dumbass, I forgot that, all you did was ask me that question. So I was like, I went on ahead and did a little extra research, okay? And so the extra research is, what else do you need in order to get a visa to go to the U.S.? So I did that, and basically, the person that is going to come visit needs to go to the American consulate in whatever area of Mexico they're at, and then they need to, let me see, you need to, okay, I'm reading this in Spanish, okay? Okay, comprobantes de cuánto gana y dónde trabajas y comprobante de tu cuenta bancaria. So basically, they need proof of, your bank statements, they need proof of where you work and how much you make. And they also ask you where you're going and who you're visiting. Now, again, in this case, is grandma that needs a visa. So, how much does she make? Whatever the government gives her. Little, very little. Where does she work? She doesn't work. She's retired. She's a widow. Bank statements, easy. So basically, everything's like 0, 0, 0 for the most part. And then where's she going? Well, she's going to the family member's house. So it was very easy for her to get a visa. But for anyone else that is asking for a visa to go to the U.S., it's basically something similar to that. Okay. Now let's just extra homework I decided to do on my own. Not part of the question. Okay. So that's what you need. Okay, for that. Okay. In order to have a Mexican visit the U.S., okay? But now, let's get into, back to the dual citizenship and how to get your paperwork done. So, now we're going to be talking about the case, okay? What the question, originally is, from the description of the video, in which, again, the question was, both our parents are Mexican citizens living here in the U.S. now. My wife and I were born in the U.S., but would it be possible to get dual citizenship through our parents who were born in Mexico? And short answer, like I said before, is yes. All you need to do is prove that your parents are Mexican. So how do you prove that your parents are Mexican? You got to get your parents' Mexican birth certificate. Okay? So now we're going to break it down because there's two ways to apply for this. Now, you can apply for your dual citizenship in the U.S. at a Mexican consulate in the U.S. But from what I understand, it is way more complicated and more difficult, and it's just a pain in the butt. Or you can do this in Mexico in el registro civil, okay? So civil registry, okay? So that's what, you don't even go to immigration. You go to the civil registry, which is the same place you would go. Let's say that you have a child in Mexico and you need to get a birth certificate. You go to el registro civil. So that's where you got to go. All right. So, my advice, to a lot of people, again, I know people that have gotten it in the Mexican consulate in the U.S. They get all their papers and everything done in the U.S. because, it's easier for them, or they can just get these papers. We're going to talk about all that in a second. But for other people, it's easier to get it done in Mexico. And other people that can do both, either the consulate or do it in Mexico, a lot of them end up doing it in Mexico, and for reasons we're going to discuss in a second, okay? But long story short, you have many options, okay? And it's very easy, no matter, what route you choose. Obviously some are easier than others. For example, in this case right here, Michael, both his parents are there, and both his parents are still married, and they got all the paperwork. So for him, it's most likely going to be a lot easier, to just go to the consulate and get it done there. But some people, they only have proof of one parent's birth certificate or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, the parents got divorced, and, there's many things that can happen. And so for them, it's probably easier to come and do it in Mexico. All right. And for other people, it's about a name change thing. So that's the thing that we're going to discuss. So the name change thing is basically, if you do it in the U.S. consulate, well, you're going to get a long Mexican name, and they're going to, add last name. So if you don't know this, in Mexico, everybody has a super long name, So my name would be José Arteaga de Miguel de la Carriente de Guarito de Perita Papa Piripu Pera Peru, whatever. All right. So it's not, because I'm Cuban, so we just have a regular name, José Luis Arteaga. That's really my name, okay? Because all Latinos at least have some sort of middle name anyways. And José Luis is really like a name. It's not just Jose. But anyways, with that being said, when it comes to, when you're doing it in the U.S., okay, if you don't have a long name like that, they're going to produce a long name like that. And it's going to, I don't know how it works, but it's like they get it from your parents' last names, I think your mom, and you end up with a long name that they give you. But if you do it in Mexico, well, basically whatever name it says on your U.S. passport, that's your name. That's it. You know what I mean? So that's it. You know what I mean? They're not going to add extra last names, or they're not going to do anything like that. So for a lot of people, it is beneficial for them to just get it done in in Mexico, because in Mexico you get to keep your name and it doesn't cause any confusion. But again, there's Mexicans that were born in the U.S. to Mexican parents, and they probably have a long ass name. Well, they can just get it done at the Mexican consulate in the U.S. You follow me? Okay. So that's the thing. The reality is that, I didn't even know this until I moved out here, but every single branch of government in Mexico is completely autonomous and sovereign of each other. What does that mean? That they don't work together. That means that they're all, separate, and they all got to forced to work with each other. And that's why government things are such a pain in the butt out here, and they're more difficult than in other parts, of like in the U.S. or what have you, because in the U.S. everything is centralized and everything just works together, where here everything is decentralized. All right. So what do I mean by that? The Mexican consulates abroad, Mexican consulates, in the U.S., Canada, whatever, are very different and have a very different set of rules than the civil registry in Mexico, or an immigration office in Mexico, or whatever in Mexico. And so they're all very independent, and they all work very different, and they're all just different. And that's why a lot of people, they get confused or they get upset, when they don't get like a set number. Let's say we're talking about, hey, I'm going to get my residency through financial requirements, and there's no one set number. Well, that's because there's not one set number, because every single consulate, every single office, they're at the discretion. And some people, some offices is basically, just show them, an amount. And some people, some consulates is like, you got to show them that you're uber rich, and I can go on and on. So it's the same thing with this stuff, you know what I mean? But when you're getting your citizenship through family structure, is actually like that. The only thing that differs is the fact that each place is different. So again, the Mexican consulates abroad do it one way. The civil registry in Mexico does it another way. So it's just going to depend on how you want it done. Okay, and you know, your parameters, you know, what have you, and what kind of paperwork you can produce, and yada yada yada, as to what would be the best way for you to do it. So now we're going to talk about, you know, what are the things that are required depending on the place. So let me see. Let me read some comments real quick before I go through the what you need. Okay. Antonio Rivas says, Jose, you're right. I had some name change. I had to name change everything from driver's license, passport. So yeah. So Antonio did it in the U.S. at a Mexican consulate, and yeah, you saw the headache that it was. All right, that you had to change everything. You know what I mean? Like everything. And so, you know, okay, all right. Thanks for confirming that. Okay, Dave says, so you have to bother your parents to demand their Mexican citizenship first if they did not do it? Oh, that is a great question. That's a great question, Dave. So, for example, in some cases, let's say you don't even have contact with your parents. Remember, there's all kinds of situations, man. You know, some people don't even want to talk to their parents. Who knows? I don't want to get into it. This is not family court, okay? This isn't the people's court, all right? So the point is that, you know, hey, in some cases, you don't even know your mom or want to talk to your mom, who knows, or dad or whatever. So you can actually get your parents' birth certificate, okay, from, I'm pretty sure it's el registro civil, without them being present. Because again, you can prove you are their child. So you can get their birth certificate because you're getting it for the purposes of this. Okay? So you can get their birth certificate. But again, now if you're going to be doing that, you're most likely going to be doing the whole process in Mexico in el registro civil. Okay, makes sense? But yeah, no, that's a great question, because that's a problem that people have as well, that they just cannot, for whatever reason, get, you know, in contact with their parents, but they're alive. I mean, and they're alive. And look, and in some cases, look, remember, what if your parents are dead, you know, because you're older, and, you know, your parents are just old and they died, you know what I mean? Life, you know, again, knock on wood, right? But, you know, life happens, you know, and so they're not here with us anymore. Again, you can still get this done. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, because it's all about the family, you know what I mean? Like, in the sense of, like, you know, hey, and what matters is that your lineage is Mexican, you know, and you can prove that somebody in your family is Mexican. You follow me? Okay. All right, hold on one second. Give me 1 second. Hold on, I gotta. Sorry about that. Okay. So let me see, just read a few more comments. I was born in Mexico, became a U.S. citizen, and have dual citizenship. Awesome. My kids are all born in the USA and also have Mexican citizenship. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, look, long story short, it's very easy. It's very easy to do, but it's not easy. You know what I mean? It's you know, it's bureaucracy, it's paperwork. Like, for example, it's easy to go to DMV and get your license, but it's not easy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that same kind of thing, you know. But it's you know, anyone that is in this situation, you know, you have the easiest path, not just to citizenship, but just to life out here in Mexico, because, you know, you can just get your citizenship immediately, and you're hit the ground running. You're already doing everything. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. You're a citizen, you know? So, you know, not only can you get a bank account, you can start certain businesses other people can't do. You can do so many things. Okay? So my mother, Antonio Rivas says that my mother got her dual citizenship at age 88 from her parents born in 1885. Wow, that's crazy. I became a second generation dual citizenship in 2019. Awesome. Again, yeah, it takes paperwork. That's it. You know what I mean? And again, the further back you go, you know, the more difficult it is, but it can get done. Thank you for that. Okay. Hello to everyone up there. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, let's go into what you need. All right, so there's two ways to go about this, okay? I'm going to start off with the easiest way, okay? Just from talking to others like you that have already done this, all right? And because I haven't done it, remember, I'm Cuban. You know, all I can get is Cuban citizenship. Yeah, no thanks. Anyways. By the way, they're giving that away. You know what I mean? I can get it, and I'm like, no, it's all right. So you can keep it. You know, don't worry about it. I'll come back later and see how you're doing in Cuba. Anyways, stick to Mexico. Okay, we're sticking to Mexico. So the easiest way to get this done for a Mexican, okay, let's say again, you are a U.S. citizen and your parents are Mexican, okay, the easiest way to get your passport, your identification, you know, your citizenship, is to get it done in Mexico. So again, step number one is you got to do this in the Registro Civil, which is a civil registry, okay? So, but what you need to provide, okay, is your passport, okay? You need your birth certificate, okay? A new U.S. birth certificate, okay? You can do more research on that, but you need your U.S. birth certificate, okay? That is apostilled, okay? So you need a U.S. birth certificate that is apostilled, and it's going to be translated into Spanish, but that has to be translated in the state in which you're going to be doing it in. So let me explain. Let's say that you're doing it in the state of Michoacan. So the translator has to be a translator that works out of Michoacan, and he has to do it for you. Okay? Or let's say you're in the Yucatan where I live, or in Quintana Roo, or in Chiapas. Whatever state you're in, you need to get somebody from that state to do the translation, okay? By the way, guys, this video is just a guide. This is not, you know, the 100% way, you know, sure, how do I say it? It's like, don't take my information or any information on YouTube or any YouTubes as, you know, like, hey, that's the way to do it. I'm providing as much information as humanly possible that I have gathered through my resources and sources. But please, if you still have any more doubts, you know, do some a little extra research on your own, and also maybe hire, you know, a professional to help you out. But we're gonna go through websites here. Don't worry, you know, I'm gonna show you a little bit more in detail, okay? But please, you know, don't get mad at me and be like, hey, I went to this office and they said this, and that. Listen, welcome to Mexico. It's always something, all right? So like I said, you know what I mean? Like they told me I needed XYZ to register my car, and every time I went, I needed something new and something different. And every state is gonna be different. And some are gonna ask for more, some are gonna ask for less, but I'm giving you the basics, okay? Basically what they're asking you for, all right? And, you know, again, if they go above and beyond that, that's another story. All right. And the consulates are even worse. All right. Meaning that when you're doing this kind of procedure or any procedure in a Mexican consulate, like abroad in the US, Canada, whatever, it's going to be worse. Okay. Meaning that they do whatever they want. So again, same thing with this. Okay. You might think, oh, I got all my paperwork, got all my everything. And then you show up and they're like, hey, something else pops up. Anyways. All right. But I'm just giving you the basics here. So let's start from the beginning. You, as a U.S. citizen, you need to have your valid passport, your valid visa. In this case, it's probably going to be like a tourist visa. Okay? Your birth certificate from the U.S. that is a new birth certificate. You'll find out when you're going to get it apostilled, because you're going to have an old birth certificate. You're going to try to get that apostilled, and they're going to tell you, no, you need a new one. Anyways, so you get your new birth certificate, you get that apostilled, you bring that to Mexico, in the state you're going to do this in, you get somebody to translate it into Spanish for you, okay? Then you also need, that's what you need for you, okay, to cover you. You might need other stuff, but that's just the basics, okay? You also need, for your parents, okay, and depending on the state, but again, in Mexico, from what I understand, only one parent is enough. You need their recent birth certificate, which you can acquire at El Registro Civil, the civil registry, okay? Plus their identification if they have one. But again, if they don't have one, it complicates things. You know, again, they're dead. I don't know. You're going to have a copy of their INE, you know, the same thing that you needed to get the passport or whatever. So the INE, which is the Mexican identification. Because in other countries like the US or Canada, your identification is your license. Your driver's license is everything for everything. Not here. In Mexico, driver's license is just for driving. Out here, everybody has El INE. Okay, that is your, you know, voting registration, your identification for everything. So you need your parents' copy of their INE with a recent birth certificate of the parent. Okay, and then with that paperwork, you go to the El Registro Civil, and in El Registro Civil, you present all that. All right, and then and then probably a fee. I'm sure there's a fee. There's always a fee. And then they're gonna ask you. And once you give them all that paperwork, they're gonna give you this paper that's called Inscripción de Acta Extranjera. All right, let me repeat that. All right, in fact, I should just write it down for you guys. I'll put it in the chat because it's a lot. Okay, so once you get all that paperwork and you take it to the civil registry, all right, the civil registry is going to give you back this paper, okay, Inscripción de Acta Extranjera. Okay, that paper, then you get and you bring it back. I mean, it's this is Mexico, by the way, okay? So you get that same paper and you give it to the civil registry. Yes, the same civil registry that gave you that paper. And then with that paper, I'm reading with my notes here. Okay, and then with that paper, you are able to get your Mexican birth certificate. Okay, so once you get that paper from the civil registry, again, la inscripción de acta extranjera, once you get that, okay, then what you need to do is that you give that back to the civil registry so they can give you a birth certificate in your name, your birth certificate. And it's going to read your name, okay, as it is on all your U.S. identification, your passport, whatever. Once you get that birth certificate, then you got to go on to the other offices. I don't know what these offices are, but then you got to go to the other offices in Mexico, and then you got to get your INE, which is your voting registration. You know, again, that makes you really a citizen right there. Your birth certificate, but you got to have your identification. So with your birth certificate, you can go get your INE. With the INE, then you can go get your passport. And with, your INE, you can also do everything, open up a bank account, start a business, you can do whatever. That's it. You're a citizen. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. That's basically, let's see. Okay. So that's how it works. Okay. So I hope all that made sense. Okay. It is a little complicated. This is why some people, again, they get frustrated with this, and some people end up hiring like a lawyer, or they end up hiring somebody to help them facilitate this. But look, you can do it yourself, okay? Because again, you just got to go to, like, let's say you're going to do all this in Michoacan. So you got to go and just see how they do it in Michoacan. All right. And that's it. If you're going to do it in the Yucatan, see how they do it here. And that's it. What they're asking for here. And that's it. All right. And it's as simple as that. Really, they're not going to be asking you for much more than what I already asked for. Really, you're good. Okay. Now, if you are going to be doing this at a consulate, okay, if you're going to be, let me see, I'm going to bring it up here. There you go. If you're going to be doing this in a consulate, let me move my fat head. Yeah, hold on a second. Why is it not moving? No. Okay, there you go. Let's move it a little bit to the side. All right. So here, okay, so right here, what I'm showing you, okay, is this is the Houston consulate, okay? There's the Houston Mexican consulate, okay? And again, every Mexican consulate is going to be different and ask for different things. And some are going to be more strict than others, and others than that. Again, most of them are asking for the same thing, but, I just want to prepare you guys, okay? Because I don't want you to go to, like, I don't know, the consulate in Seattle or in Michigan or whatever, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, Jose, they're asking me for this, and that. Yeah, I know. Again, welcome to Mexico. They can, Okay, so let's just go through what they're asking for at the Mexican consulate in Houston, okay? So requirements for registration of birth of Mexicans born abroad, okay? Number 1, fill out the application form, okay? Fill out the application form, 1 for each applicant. Click here for application. All right, whatever. So you got to start there. All right, it's already starting off bad. All right, there's no application you had to fill out in Mexico. Okay. Number 2, bring the following original documents: foreign birth certificate, full size of the person to be registered. But see, you were born in the USA. So, you know, right off there, again, it's already starting off, you know, birth certificate of both parents. Government issued photo identification of the person to be registered. Government issued photo identification of both parents. 2 witnesses. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's also the pain in the butt. You know what I mean? That you have to have 2 witnesses over the age of 18 with valid identification. Okay? No, 2 copies of each document and identification are required for each applicant. All right, before starting the process. All right, next. In the application's birth certificate, the name of both parents, the name of the parents, must appear as it is written on the parent's Mexican birth certificate. It is not necessary that the 2 last names appear, but it is mandatory that the first and middle name do, if applicable. If one of the parents is not a Mexican national, the passport of their country of origin or identification issued in the United States must be submitted along with birth certificate. When the father cannot be present at the moment of registration, it will be required to bring the marriage certificate or power of attorney unless his name is not on the applicant's foreign birth certificate. The marriage must have taken place prior to the applicant's birth. For example, of the power of attorney, see this section in Spanish. Okay? If the applicant's birth certificate was issued outside of the USA, anyways, it will be required to apostille or legalize it as appropriate, and if applicable, translate into Spanish. See, like, it's already kind of like iffy. That's what you got to call and ask, because it's like they're kind of giving you on the top here, you know, it should just be your U.S. your U.S. birth certificate, not a foreign birth certificate. So you see, don't get me started. And by the way, this is not the U.S. Remember, this is Mexico in the U.S. Mexican consulate in the U.S. Okay. And then the last, the time of birth. What? The time of birth must be known either by being stated on the birth certificate or proved with complementary hospital documents. Hold on a second. Hold on. We gotta bust out the. Bruh. All right. So, anyways, you go to other consulates. I'm sure they're gonna have just as, you know, some sort of other ridiculousness going on with them. So this is why most people just end up doing this in Mexico, okay? In Mexico, all right? So back to what I was saying earlier about the inscripción de acta extranjera. For example, we just do a quick search here in Google and see inscripción de acta extranjera registro civil, okay? That was a search, right? And right off the bat, I'm in the Yucatan, so I'm going to get the Yucatan. All right. But you go down and, you know, you're going to see more information, you know, on the official, you know, government websites. And, you know, again, this is the consulate. A little further down, you're going to find the government website. A little further down, you're going to find videos. OK. OK. Which I'm going to link a few of these videos in the description. OK. For more information. OK. On that. And what else? Oh, yeah. And then you see here Quintana Roo. Okay, this is Coahuila. So you see other states, okay? And each state is going to do their thing. So let's go to the Yucatan. Let's go to... Okay, let's go to all these different states, okay? So you can get an idea. In Mexico. So this is in Yucatan. So this is the Yucatecan website, okay? And then everything's in Spanish, obviously. And then, you know, de qué consiste, qué necesito, you know, what do I need, costo. See, look, the cost is 450 pesos, which is like 25 bucks. And then this is all the things you required. Okay. Let's go here. This is, what state is this? Coahuila, whatever. So look over here. It's 1,300 for it to get done. Okay. And then look, this is in Quintana Roo, which is where Cancun is. And then here is like just a simple copy of your birth certificate, complete name, and the payment. Okay. All right. Even easier. Is this for the same thing? Yeah, it is. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, you know, you can go even further and further and further, okay, into all this, okay? But long story short, you know what I mean? Doing this at the Mexican consulate, just like doing anything at a Mexican consulate, is going to be just way more difficult. Because remember, now, you know, for other people out there that might be watching that, you know, they're not going to get, you know, their citizenship or passports or whatever through Mexican family, but, you know, just a regular immigrant. This is why they find it so difficult to get this stuff done at a Mexican consulate. And I encourage so many people to just come out to Mexico and do it out here, figure it out here, because it's just so much easier to figure it out here. All right? Or, you know, as opposed to doing this at the consulates, because they all work very independent of each other and they're all very different. But anyways, with all that being said, I think we're done with this episode. So let me see what's in the chat, see if there's anyone else that wants to add to the conversation. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this bad boy up, and we got to get to, whatchamacallit? Got to get to the last live stream, okay? So let's not forget, again, if you want to, you know, you want to stick around with me today and do one more live stream, sorry, come check me out, okay, on my YouTube page. Okay, hold on a second. All right, let's read some comments real quick. Patricia Hernandez says, maybe another video would be to highlight the advantages of becoming a Mexican citizen. I mean, the advantages are that you are a Mexican citizen. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's really self-explanatory. It's the same reason anyone who wants to become a temporary or permanent resident. The fact that you now have a Mexican passport, Mexican identification, you know, you can legally be, you know, you're a citizen of Mexico. You can vote. You know, you can, you know, again, participate further with civil matters in Mexico, assuming you want to do that. But yeah, you know, there's a lot of benefits, you know. But again, it's not for everybody. You know, some people don't care to even get citizenship. I want to get my citizenship. Anyone? Okay, so Chef is asking me off topic. Okay, so anyone that wants to ask me any other questions, you know, again, it's very easy for you to do. All you got to do is just go to my website. Here, I'm going to provide a link. Oh, hold on a second. And provide a link for you guys to click on. Sorry, because I was doing that other stuff earlier. I had to wipe, clean, start over. Okay, here we go. Okay, so anyone who wants to ask me any questions, again, please feel free to click on the link in the chat, in the description of this video, in the comment section. Anyways, the link is going to take you straight to my website. On my website, you come straight over here where it says personalized consultations, all right? You're going to find the video, all right, that is me explaining to you. Actually, the link I provide is going to take you straight here. But anyways, it's just me telling you how this works, and basically you send me an email with the question, and then we come to an agreement of the donation amount, and then I get to answer it either in, you know, video format like I'm doing this, or I get to answer it privately, or we get to have a one-on-one Zoom consultation. But again, for more information on all of that, please go to my website and you can find out more on that, and that's it. Or again, you can wait, you know, until I do my question and answer sessions. All right, once a month I do just like 2 hours of me just talking, you know, and answering all the questions in the chat, and you can ask me there. Obviously, I'm not going to give you as much details most likely as I'm doing in you know, a single video like I do here, but you know, you can do that if you want to do it for free. I also I provide everything I do. I provide free options. Okay, so you know, because I know there's a lot. I've been getting a lot of viewers lately, a lot of subscribers, a lot of everybody lately. And long story short, you know what I mean, this comes a lot of positive, a lot of negative, and a lot of people out there just say, hey, they're just doing it for the money. No, I gotta pay the bills, just like everybody else, and everything I do is free, as you guys know. This is why I do these like videos, because for example, someone in the audience, Michael, he was asking me this question and he offered a donation, so we agreed to make a video so that others can now benefit from this information. And that's how we all kind of help each other here. So again, let's all thank Michael, okay, for, you know, being, you know, for providing, you know, the donation and the financial, you know, help, stimulus in order to get this done. And now everyone that watches this video has gotten the benefit from it. So, you know, again, that's why I do these, so that we're all helping each other out. Again, most of the things that I do are free anyway, so it is what it is. But, you know, I just wanted a little caveat on that. But I think that's it. Oh, Johnny says, I finally became a dual citizen today. Oh, wow. Congratulations. You know, what a day, too. 420 of all days, huh? I had so many problems because of my mom's maiden name. She had to fix her birth certificate, but it got done. They rejected a lot of people. Look at that. See? Yeah, man. Antonio, even a space or a hyphen at the wrong spot will bother them. Exactly. Yeah, so, yeah. It's I'm giving you just like the kind of like the basics, you know, we're just kind of overviewing of everything. But yeah, I'm glad you guys are in the chat bringing all that up, that yeah, it's not that easy. You know, a lot of times you bring in all the paperwork, you think you're done, you got it, and then they're like, oh, this hyphen should not be there. Oh, we need a space over here. Oh, why is it this like, oh geez, you know, you want to just like strangle. But hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's worth it. Like everyone finds out, you know, it's totally worth it. Otherwise, why would you do it, right? I think that's it. Okay, let me see, no more questions. Okay, we're good. Okay, so for anyone out there that wants to stick around for the last question today, okay, we're going to be celebrating. We are celebrating again, you know, April 20th, you know, special day today for some people out there. And we're going to be talking about, you know, what the issues are. I'm not talking about it here because you know how the YouTube algorithm is, right? So we can talk about it there. So anyways, for anyone that wants any information or updates on the whole, you know, cannabis 420 blah 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 situation in Mexico, please go to my webpage right now. Go to my YouTube page and click on that video right there, and I will be there live in a few minutes. All right, as soon as I finish wrapping up here, I'm going to be a few minutes late. Whatever, 5 minutes from now, we're going to start that stream, and we're going to be talking about that topic that is a very hot topic. Okay, here in Mexico, and yeah, a lot of people are very interested in it. And so today, the day of days, is the day that we're going to be talking about it, because it's 420 for, you know, obvious reasons. So again, go to that video, go check that out. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Again, go to my page. If you've already subscribed, if you already hit the bell icon, you know, it should be easy for you. You'll get the notification, what have you. But the best way you can just do this is just go straight to the thing right there, and then boom, just wait for me and wait for everybody. So, all right, see you guys in a few minutes. Thanks for watching. Bye.